All right, Red Sea, are you out there? Red Sea, it is week 1.
Rise up.
Do not fail the first test when I pose the question, are we regular season ready for Sunday at Buffalo? Okay, here's the deal.
Yeah,
Dennis
Paul.
Gardeck, you're going to have to get out there, and I think you're going to, some of the young ones, some of the rookies. I mean, we've been here and done this before, but, it's a regular season. The lights can be a little bright, so here we are on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan, Ford, and Gilbert. Ron Wolfley there, Paul Calvisi here, and the Barbarian, Dennis Gardeck, joining us tonight.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
If there was a rookie out here, okay, and maybe they look a little nervous, and this could happen easily in the first quarter of the first game on Sunday, what sort of value-added advice would you have for a rookie going into the regular season?
I say it every year. The most important thing is what you did to get here is what's going to keep you here. I think that settles nerves. That gets everybody, okay, I'm an NFL football player. It's time to do my thing. Everybody's playing at a high clip. I just need to be who I am.
How about going into week 1? Here it is, week 1. The emotions, man, it's got to be high. Even today, I know I played a long time ago, Dennis, but I know what that was like. Week 1, getting ready for that opponent. Man, the emotions were really, really high. Where are you right now personally?
It's almost like you were in our team meeting on Monday of, hey, JG's in front of everybody. Guys, I understand everybody's juiced to play. We were ready to play after the last game of the season. Bring it down. Bring it down. It's not time yet. So we've slowly been building since Monday. Hey, get more and more ready. Speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. So it's that emotional regulation throughout the week is going to carry into the game, and I think we're going to be calm, collected, and ready to execute.
I wish JG was around back when I was playing because that was not the case with me.
He's not here at Trophy and Chandler, but we do have him on audio and what he told the media about what he told the team earlier in the week when asked about week 1 and how it's different than other weeks. All right.
Yeah, maximize every day, every second counts, but it's a fun week. We talked to him about week 1's a little bit different than all the other weeks. We just got to make sure we channel our energy and emotion into what matters right now, which is they're in meetings and then the practice field.
It's amazing to me, and you tell me, but as the sideline pencil neck reporter, okay, Jonathan Gannon, JG rhymes with energy. On game day, he is remarkably calm, cool, and calculated. Have you noticed that about your head coach?
I have, and it's something that he actually shared with the team that he needs to do that. So he does. JG rhymes with energy because he brings a lot of energy throughout the week. But on game day, he brings himself down so he can be his best for us. So he's clear in his mind and ready to execute whatever he needs to do as a head coach.
So I'm thinking right now, I remember when you came into the league and how impressive you were right from day one when you came in and the way that your effort, of course, stood out. Right now, where are you in terms of your career and looking at it big picture-wise? And, man, you're having an incredible NFL career out of humble beginnings, and I know you would say that yourself. What is the key for you staying in the league as long as you have, and it looks like you're going to get 12?
Absolutely. I don't know about getting 12, and I definitely came from humble beginnings. But I think it's always what value are you adding? And at this stage in my career, effort isn't enough anymore. Execution is at a premium. So I understand that pressure that comes with that. And now that I'm evolving into a different role, it's continuing to produce. And also I think a huge role is bringing on the next generation, bringing in the rookies, getting guys up to speed. I've accumulated a lot of knowledge either from my experience on the field or from my teammates throughout the years. It's my job to hand that down to the next generation.
And we're going to get into those humble beginnings a little bit later. Let me ask you this. Right here, right now, going into week 1 with this team, this roster, new GM, new head coach, all in year 2, coordinators the same, but there's Kyler Murray in year 6. What's the feeling like when you know you have that guy at that position?
He's dangerous, regardless. Ball in his hand, I like him. So I'm excited. I know he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's ready to prove some people. I'm excited to see Kyler Murray week 1.
What would you say about what you've seen in camp and in practice? What we can't see, because he talked to us just yesterday about how he feels like he hasn't scratched the surface of his ability, his potential, and he really credits the scheme, and the scheme being able to bring out the best in him.
Yeah, and I think the staff and everybody around him are allowing him to elevate his game. Everybody's pouring into the players in this organization, so everybody's able to elevate his game. When you're Kyler Murray, your floor is most people's ceiling. So to be able to elevate from there, it's going to be fun to watch.
Well, here's the quarterback himself, K1, QB1, on his mindset heading into week 1.
Obviously, week 1, there's a lot of, I like to envision a lot, and I know the guys do, but I think there's a lot of more anxiety and stuff like that going into week 1 because you're so amped up and juiced. There's a lot of excitement built up around it. You really don't know what to expect. Every team's trying to find out who they are.
You know what's crazy is Josh Allen and Kyler Murray, the 2 youngest quarterbacks ever to 15,000 passing yards and 2,000 rush yards. And I didn't realize till I looked at it literally an hour ago, Josh Allen a year ago had 15 rushing touchdowns. The quarterback.
Yeah.
Wolf, you grew up watching O.J. Simpson. He has the single-season team record. He had 16. Josh Allen had 15 last year.
That's truly incredible right there, it is. But just knowing Josh Allen, when you think of Josh Allen as well and how he plays the game, this is a guy that runs the ball. He's a football player, Paulie. That's what I call him. Most quarterbacks, they don't dip and rip. This guy is going to dip and rip on you. I love watching him play, and he's central to what they do.
And the reason I bring it up is because it's that dual threat. So as a defender, if you're the Bills defense, you're looking at Kyler, what do you have to be cognizant of? And then what do you have to be cognizant of with the Cardinals defense going against like a guy against Josh Allen? We say, come for the arms, stay for the legs.
Yeah, absolutely. The run game is alive always with 17 back there, so you got to kind of change your rush mechanics. You always got to be prepared for him to pull it down, tuck it. Is he gonna tuck and run? Is he tucking and he's creating plays and he's gonna pass it? So you have to play defense differently when you play the Kyler Murrays and you play the Josh Allens.
It really is incredible, too, to see Kyler Murray and his evolution as well, especially from under center. It's something that we have talked about for years, of course, on this show, but to see him evolve his game and develop his game from under center, I think it brings a baseline to this offense in an area to grow that I don't think we had in the past. But watching him last year and what he did, especially at the end, the last 4 weeks of the season right now, that's where I continue to go back and look at 2023 and how well the Arizona Cardinals ran the ball, an elite rushing team, of course, top 5 overall, of course, last year. But the way they ran the ball and how well Kyler threw the ball from the pocket, that to me gives me hope. And I think it also encourages Kyler Murray, because he knows he's got an area he can develop and improve.
Absolutely. As a competitor, you're always trying to find those ways, and that's the single word I would use to define Kyler Murray. He's a competitor. He's always looking for that extra mile to go, and I think he's found it.
I've said more than once, only half jokingly, that I want Kyler to be accused of being a game manager this year. I want him to be accused of being Brock Purdy. He's got so many weapons around him. Just get the ball out, distribute the football. Because when we watch practice, you see he has a lot of options, does he not?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's going to make us dangerous as an offense, but also that plays into the defense as well, being on the field, being able to execute a select amount of plays as to being out there all the time, and hoping it holds together. So offense and defense working together, I'm excited for Kyler Murray.
Dennis, do you think that playing the Buffalo Bills and knowing that you're playing on the road in a very hostile environment, because I know it's hostile up there, that's where I'm from, Bills Mafia is going to be out in force week number 1, playing on the road against a team that I believe is going to be a playoff team in the Buffalo Bills, do you think that helps focus you guys all through training camp and in preseason as well at the job that is at hand?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think it provides the energy that we need to go out there and execute, but like JG said, we need to focus it and channel it in the right direction. That could also be a threat if we're relying on externals and we get amped out, or we're not focused on what's happening on the field. It can be a threat as well. So it's something that you have to manage, especially week 1. Emotional regulation is going to be huge in this game.
Love that.
I heard a couple of guys say, I think it was Zaven saying, you know, this time a year ago, it was sort of football 101. You know, you were lucky to get most of the basic stuff installed, scheme-wise, playbook, either side of the ball. But right now it's more like a graduate course. How much more advanced are the schemes, and how much more is at the disposal of a Nick Rollis and Drew Petzing?
Yeah, absolutely. The evolution is nice. You've been working with this same group for a year. We've added a bunch of new pieces, but to have Rollis in year 2, kind of what worked, what didn't work, it's definitely a graduate. We're moving towards PhD at this point. Yep.
It's very, very cool, man. Yeah, we're going to go to break here. I don't want to ask you a question, but I'm going to anyways because we have some time right here. But where are you in terms of goals? What do you want? What is this season? Are you a goal guy? How many sacks would you like to get?
I'm not goals in terms of stats and stuff like that. Making the 53 is always a goal. From there, we'll kind of continue to evolve
Yes.
throughout the season, but I don't chase stats. I want to play good football. I want this defense to play good football, and that's the number one goal.
That's why you're going to get 12.
We're going to get into what Budda Baker said about how you guys sit next to each other in team meetings. We'll get into a little bit of that. I want to know about you meeting Sugar Sean O'Malley, okay? I want to know all about that. I want to know about fatherhood. You're, 2-3 months into that now?
Almost 3, yep.
We got a lot to talk about. Just getting rolling, The Big Red Rage, starring Dennis Gardeck, the Barbarian himself, all presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford.
Fires to McLaurin, near side, caught at the 45 and drilled again. Dennis Gardeck with the hit.
Sometimes you're the meat stick, and sometimes you're the carnivore, and I think Dennis Gardeck is picking Terry McLaurin out of his teeth.
Hit and sack. Picked up by Gardeck and suplexed.
And they're doing a party. The strobe of Dennis Gardeck right there.
Not only does Dennis Gardeck hit the strobe, his celebration dance, the entire sideline is now into it. Looks like a line dance.
Sacked at the 43, Dennis Gardeck. This guy continues to make plays.
Dennis Gardeck simply will not stop.
Hit by Gardeck and spilled.
What is good, Gardeck? He came around that edge, hair flying. What an incredible play by the Barbarian, Dennis Gardeck.
So let's see here. That was all last year when Dennis Gardeck had a team-high 6 sacks, had a team-high 12 quarterback hits, 7 tackles for loss, 4 passes defense, 41 tackles. Those were all career highs. And then, of course, he hit the strobe, which just ignites the whole sideline. I mean, there are a few things that really will bring a sideline, like a running back trucking a DB. Everyone gets up for that. You know, any sort of turnover or takeaway, boom, you know. But then when you go into the sack dance, I mean, explain, Dennis Gardeck, here on the Big Red Rage presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Explain the origin, you know, where you're at with that now, and just the following. I mean, do you have your own social media account for the strobe? What's going on?
No social media account for the strobe quite yet. So it was something that I was doing pretty regularly in practice. And first game that I got on defense against the Jets, I hit it. They were not happy with the first sack celebration. They said, you know what, you should really do what you're doing in practice. So why don't you go ahead and hit that? I was expecting that to be way in the future. It happened to be just a few snaps later.
Yes.
It was fresh on the mind, and it's just kind of taken over ever since.
So when you think of yourself, Dennis, obviously in the life that you've lived right now and where you came from, for those that don't remember, remind us of your beginnings. High school, college, and into the NFL. How did you get there?
High school, I was not the best player on my team. College, I wouldn't say I was the best player on the team. Just kind of continued to elevate my game to soak in everything that I learned from those around me, and that's kind of been the evolution and process of my career.
It's funny because, you know, Wolf wanted to go to West Virginia State. He had to settle for the University of West Virginia, and you spent, 3 years at West Virginia State, and you did sort of a humble recap there. I see here you were nominated for the Harlan Hill Trophy, which is like the Heisman of D2, as a defensive player. So you must have been doing something right.
I just played as fast and physical as I can. You know, awards and everything, they kind of come and go as they do.
So what do you think, Dennis, right now? What do you think is your strongest asset? What do you believe makes you the player that you are?
I would say versatility, and I think that ties perfectly into our defense. We pride ourselves on our adaptability. So that's being able to fill a position that coach identifies as a point that needs to be filled. Whether that's rushing the passer, which is something I will always love to do, or if it's dropping back in coverage, I've learned a lot over the years to be proficient in that as well. Just whatever role that needs to be filled, I'm ready for it.
You mentioned 2020, that game against the Jets. For those who don't remember, it was a COVID year. Empty MetLife Stadium. Empty. I was in the press box. I could hear the Cardinals sideline almost word for word because it would echo through an empty stadium.
I'm trying to forget those days, Paul.
Chandler Jones, season-ending injury. In comes Dennis Gardeck. If I remember right, you had 0 snaps on defense in your career.
0. And that empty stadium, I was right at home because we had about as many fans at West Virginia State. So I was right in my element. I was ready to go.
Oh, my goodness.
And not 1, but 2. And honestly, in those 2 sacks changed your football career in a big way, didn't it?
Definitely. And even though those sacks were great, there are 2 things that I will never forget about that game. The first one being hearing our offensive linemen cheering me on as I'm taking my first reps. I can still hear DJ Humphries screaming.
Wow.
And the second is that when I came in the locker room, Chandler Jones, after just hearing, hey, I had a season-ending bicep tear, was so happy for me that I got those 2 sacks.
Wow.
After seeing all that work. Those 2 things, they give me goosebumps. I will never forget those.
That's so cool. That is so cool, Dennis, no doubt. Talk a little bit. You seem like a very internally motivated dude. Like you don't need a lot of external. You don't need all the fans maybe sitting there. You're an internally motivated guy. Have you always been that way?
I think so. I heard a video from Conor McGregor. He said he's just curious on how far he can go with it. For him, it was fighting. For me, it's football. I'm just curious. I'm just going to keep taking the next step. If the next one is available, I'm going to take it. So I'm just kind of keep taking each step, and then at the end of my career, I'll say, oh, that's as far as you can get.
Interesting, because you just met Sugar Sean O'Malley. What was that like, defending UFC bantamweight champ, right? Glendale resident, lives about 20 minutes from the stadium.
It was absolutely terrifying, because if I see an average person about the same size as Sean O'Malley, I'm thinking if we have to step outside, I might be okay. And I know for a fact that is not the case with Sean O'Malley. So it was terrifying. He was great. He was open to trying anything and everything. He's an awesome dude. It was great to meet him, but absolutely terrifying.
Okay, let me turn the tables over real quick.
Yeah.
How often do people underestimate your size? Because for the average dude, yeah, but in the NFL, no. So how often do people underestimate you because of your size when you sit on an NFL field?
Yeah, I think it usually takes a couple reps for them to see he can play. But it's usually those first couple reps, it's like, all right, long hair, white guy, 6 foot, maybe 230 pounds. So they're kind of going through the stat line and all the measurables, and then it's like, oh, we're still playing a football game at the end of the day. That's kind of what I pride myself in.
It's so funny. It really is, because it's a situation where I watch you play, and it actually works to your advantage sometimes. I know it did for me, Dennis. There's no doubt about it. I was 6 foot, 222 pounds as a fullback in an era when every fullback was 245, 250 or more in that era. So people would just say, this guy's not going to do anything, and it would actually work to my benefit. The fact that they would underestimate me, and then I'd hit them in the face and knock their teeth out, something.
Well, here's Budda Baker on being teammates with the Barbarian.
Look at that. Somebody got fired up
Dennis
back there.
Gardeck.
That's my guy, man. We sit next to each other in defensive meetings all the time, kind of crack jokes a little bit. He talks to me about his kid, his baby, and I talk to him about my baby a little bit. A guy who, of course, started out being a special teams guy, but, when I saw him pass rushing those few years back, man, he's a great pass rusher. And a guy that can, be back at linebacker at certain plays and drop, but also rush the passer.
Sounds like you have a real bond with Budda Baker. How would you explain it?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome to hear. I know early on in my career, he was the goal. He was a special teams Pro Bowler his rookie year in a defensive role already. So that was how I saw my path of, okay, I'm playing special teams, but it's possible to make that jump from teams to defense. So it's a special relationship. We've been on the team. I think we're the two oldest or two senior most in the defensive room. So we've created
Who's been
a bond.
with the Cardinals the longest, right?
He's got me by a year.
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
But it's cool to have kind of grown that relationship over the years. And yeah, he just had a baby. I had mine. So we've been swapping stories and not sleeping and all of that.
That's one of the hardest things about it, right? Are you ready to be a parent, though? I mean, do you embrace the entire parenting thing? And you know what? You can't wait. What is the age where you say, I can't wait for my baby to get to be this old? Is there an age that you think of and dream about?
I think it's an evolution. I think right now I can't wait for him to hold his head. I would love to sleep through a whole night. After that, I can't wait. Aaron Brewer's oldest son is like 2 years old right now, and I absolutely love being able to play and mess around with him. That's a great age for me.
Yeah.
There's not much value I'm providing right now with a 12-week-old.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of everyone here, congrats, right? Your son, Cooper.
Thank you.
To you and your wife, Cody.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, back to football and fisticuffs, if you will, and teammates. Here's a highlight of what you did to your now teammate DJ Dallas a year ago, Week 18, when he played for the Seahawks. Roll it.
DJ Dallas scoops it up at the 35, and he gets absolutely crushed by Gardeck at the 40-yard line. What a hit by Gardeck. They're still cleaning up DJ Dallas in front of the Cardinal bench. In fact, there's a little extracurricular activity over there as well.
So when the Cardinals signed DJ Dallas and you run into him for the first time at the team facility, is there a moment where it's a little awkward at that point?
Definitely, because there's more than just that play history with me and DJ. We've been battling for the years, so it's cool to have him on our side. He's a tough-nosed downhill runner in the return game, and he's great to have on our side. But there was like a mutual respect.
Sort of mean mugging.
So, are you liking where special teams are headed in the National Football League at this point in time?
Compared to last year, absolutely. I think it needs to stay apart. I've always said I think the most football play there is out there is opening kickoff. That's why you start the game with it. So I'm excited for more returns to start emerging. It'll be interesting as we're kind of working through the rules and the new scheme and everything. But I think it's good for football.
What's your gut feel? Because when it first came out, the new kickoff rule, people are like, oh, the biggest rule change since the two-point conversion in 1994. Now it's sort of swung the other way. A lot of people are forecasting teams are just going to opt for the touchback like the last couple of years. What's your gut feel?
I think early on, a lot of people are going to want to be returning. I think there are going to be teams out there that just say it's just not worth it. We're going to get ready to play offense and defense at the 30-yard line. If the league decides they want to keep it a play and alter the penalties for the touchbacks, then we'll go from there.
You know, it's just me, and you know me, I'm old. All right, we all get that and understand it, yet at the same time, wedge buster, okay, and loved every second of it. Can I just say right now, if I were the commissioner, I'd move the kickback to the 20-yard line, and I'd let you run 60 yards down the field. I mean, I think, once again, player safety is important. It really is, and I get why the NFL is doing it, and I stand and applaud them. But I think they've overcorrected. I think they've overreacted to me right now. Is there any type of conversation between players going on inside your locker room about that very thing? Or is it something that everyone embraces?
I think it's something, hey, it's out of our control. Let's learn how to play in this new defense. I agree 100%. The old kickoff was way more exciting.
Something
it was way more fun to play.
Yes.
But I think opposed to just kicking touchbacks, I like to bump it back to the 20-yard line.
Right.
You're not banging touchbacks
That's right.
there.
You can't do it.
But as opposed to just banging touchbacks, I like this better.
Yeah, so do I. There's no doubt about it. I think it's an improvement. And we're still, I think, Paulie, in the first phase of evolution of the kickoff as well and what we're going to see.
It's funny because Jesse Lucchetta was asked about it 2 weeks ago, and he said, what's your expectation? He gave 2 words, more violence. He's looking forward to it being a more physical play, just for no other reason, not as many touchbacks. That's one aspect.
If you ask Jesse Lucchetta's expectation on just about any play, it's going to be more violence.
And I think that's a segue, probably not, to the us reminding you it's the Cardinals countdown to kickoff celebration. We're going to be giving out a pair of mini helmets and a football signed by Dennis Gardeck himself tonight here at Trophy. Countdown to kickoff is a 10-day fan fest celebrating the start of the regular season, culminating the first home game at State Farm Stadium next week as we count down to September 15th, right? Go to azcardinals.com/countdown for all the info. We continue with a Big Red Rage.
Back to throw, flushed out, rolling left in trouble, slips a tackle, got to launch it. He does. Left side, into the end zone, jump ball, and it is.
Oh, he caught it! He caught it! He caught it! He caught it!
Oh my goodness, it's caught! DeAndre Hopkins caught it!
Yeah! Yeah! Oh! Oh my God!
And the game is over. The Cardinals win it 32-30.
There it was. Hail Murray to beat the Bills. How about it with 2 seconds to play, 43 yards. And it was Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins against 3 starting DBs for the Bills, none of whom still remain with Buffalo. All departed the team, by the way, this offseason. And that was Mason Cole, wired for sound just for a little extra flavor. It's a Big Red Rage presented by Santan, Ford, and Gilbert. Live from Trophy and Chandler at Price Road in Queen Creek. Dennis Gardeck is our guest. Barbarian, where were you during the Hail Murray?
I was on the sideline at the line of scrimmage. I had a front row seat to Kyler Murray throwing that touchdown pass, and it was unbelievable to be that close and see that play happen.
I mean, it had to be a shock to actually the expectation. The ball was high pointed, of course, by D-Hop, and that is the one thing that seemed very, very normal about that entire play was DeAndre Hopkins and those huge mitts that he had to be able to go up and stab the ball out of the air.
One more very, very reassuring thing, ball in Kyler Murray's hands. As pressure's coming, you know he's going to be able to extend that play. You're feeling comfortable as the play's extending. It's what Kyler does best.
How big are DeAndre Hopkins' hands? I mean, 5X, 6X gloves. He would still have to slit them to get them on.
All I know is I'd be swimming in them.
I mean, it was just
kind of like sickles, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, hanging at his side right here. I've got to ask you this, Dennis. You train a lot, boxing. We were talking about this earlier, right? So, you know, the UFC, and what's his name, Paula? You know
Sugar
this.
Sean O'Malley.
Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Sugar Sean.
Right? Sugar Sean right there, of course. And I saw you, as a matter of fact, trying to cover him. He ran a route against you, right? He was pretty quick. You know what I mean? I thought, yeah, he was pretty good right there. But boxing. Talk to me about boxing and what it does for you training.
Absolutely, and actually talking with Sean as we had to get him out of the receiver room. We had to get him into the outside linebacker room. Taught him a couple things, and he said, "Wow, this is very similar to fighting. It's a lot of throwing punches. It's using your hands, hips, and feet together. So there's a lot of coordination there that translates. And then also, you're gonna get hit. How are you able to see through that and stay composed, and then being able to land a punch while they're trying to punch you?"
That is so true right there. If you're going to play the game of football, the very base thing, the mentality you have to have, 2 things in my opinion. You have to be okay with giving damage, and you've got to be okay with taking damage.
Absolutely.
Those 2 things. Everything else comes off of that. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay, here's my question. Who would do the most damage in the octagon? Anybody on the roster, who would you pick? I have a couple of guys in mind that I could forecast as a potential UFC demon. Who would you pick?
Is it wrong if I take me?
That's the kind of bravado and confidence we need going
That's
into
what
week
I'm
one.
talking
Yes,
about.
here we go.
But if I am going to pick somebody else, Budda Baker every single time will feint a jab and hit you with a back elbow. That's his go-to move. It works 9 out of 10 times. Even if you know it's coming, he's hit me with it a couple times.
Didn't he actually do that?
That same exact
To
one on
Sugar,
Sean
didn't he?
O'Malley.
Yeah, he did.
It's his go-to
He
move,
kind
and it still kind of works.
He faked it. He
Yeah.
was like, yeah, how you doing?
So it works 9 out of 10 times, but the 10th time when it doesn't work is Sugar Sean, right? Sugar Sean would have laid him out.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
He just calmly stepped back and was ready for his counter. Yeah.
What about like Marquise Hayes Jr.? I love Mark. Every snap for Marquise Hayes is half football, half brawl. You know, I love that. Or maybe like a Will Hernandez in the octagon. octagon. I mean, James Conner. You're
You're going with the heavyweight guys.
Yeah.
I like those guys
Okay.
as well.
All right. Speaking of heavyweights, that's my segue. Josh Allen, big dude.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, he'll not just play quarterback. He'll run through you. Here's your defensive coordinator, Nick Rawlis, on what makes the Bills quarterback elite.
The ability to play the game multiple ways. Obviously, like, everyone can see the talent, whether it's the arm talent or the mobility, the power that he runs with, right? But the ability to play on schedule and off schedule at the right time. Oh, there it is. It's open. Gets it out of his hand. Oh, here comes pressure. Gets it out of his hand. But nothing's open. Now he knows how to extend and make plays down the field. So just a complete player in that aspect, which is what makes him hard to go against.
Look, I can sit here all day with the stats, but what do you see on film? How singular is he in a lot of ways as a quarterback?
Yeah, I love this matchup week 1 because he's going to test every facet of our defense. Our ability to plaster in coverage, our ability to contain him in rush, our ability to stay disciplined in our game plan. His vision is one thing that Nick didn't hit that we've talked in meetings. He's able to see and feel where those gaps are. And like Nick said, is he going to hit that seam and is he going to pass it, or is he going to hit it and run and try to run you over? You just don't know. So you have to be on top of every component of your game on defense.
This is one of the things I think the NFL should look at, the competition committee once again, allowing a quarterback to run the ball. And this is what really, I don't know how defensive players play against a big quarterback who can run the ball. Josh Allen, a Cam Newton type guy. I don't know how you tackle a guy like that in the open field when you don't know if he's going to slide or he's going to truck you. I wish the NFL would look at that rule as well. I don't think they'll ever do it because it involves the quarterback, but I think it's unfair, Dennis. I do. I honestly think it's unfair for defenders, and I was an offensive player, to be trying to tackle a quarterback where you have to try to read his mind as to whether or not he's going to slide, step out of bounds, or run you over.
Absolutely. That's a component of defense that I love, I enjoy, that our job is reactionary. We have to be one step ahead. So I love that. But I do have a funny story to share. I sit next to Rabbit in team meeting, and we're talking about how big Josh Allen is. And he's like, is he really that big? And I said, imagine trying to tackle him. And I point back to Zaven Collins.
Oh,
like, same size.
That's great right there.
That's when you know that's probably going to be his welcome to the NFL moment. If he hasn't had one yet, if he's on the field with Josh Allen.
Yeah, bringing him down.
Yeah. In fact, here's Budda Baker on facing Josh Allen, the ultimate challenge.
Josh Allen, great quarterback, a guy who can throw inside the pocket, outside the pocket, very hard to tackle. Just an all-around great quarterback that, he's playing at a high level for, years on end. So definitely excited to go against a QB like that week 1.
Right. Here's, what Wolf loves more than anything? He loves the inane analytics, Dennis. Okay, so I got one for him right here. Somebody has this analytic that Josh Allen, his QB body control.
Oh, no.
A metric that contextualizes a quarterback's effectiveness when out of stable throwing position, ranks second only to Patrick Mahomes. Can you help explain that? QB body control, a quarterback's effectiveness when out of stable throwing position. What does that mean?
This is not a stat football players are looking at.
No,
we're watching the film and we're seeing what you're describing in words, but we're able to see it. That's all we got to do.
So, Dennis, talk to me about the Buffalo Bills offense, generally speaking. What have you guys seen on tape? What do they like to do? Because they went through a transformation of their own last year, did they not?
Absolutely, yeah. They have an explosive running back. I think
James Cook.
Their O-line are looking solid. We have to look at our matchups. One, how are we going to rush Josh Allen? But then we have to look at individual matchups. How are we going to rush the offensive lineman in front of us? And it doesn't look like there's much of a weak spot there. So they seem like a complete football team. Their receivers are young, but it's a total offense, and we're excited to kind of test our mettle against them.
I know enough to know that what coaches hate the most is the unknown. Do you always get some unknown in a week 1, especially with a new offensive coordinator?
I think week 1 you have to learn to operate in the unknown. Can't expect too much, and be ready to test the fundamentals of your defense.
Well, it figures to get tested, even though they only have one receiver who's ever caught a pass from Josh Allen. They hit the reset button on the whole receiver room. So I'm wondering, okay, if you got to play Buffalo, maybe you do play him week 1. Maybe, just maybe, they don't have that chemistry in sync yet.
Ever since Joe Brady took over as offensive coordinator, though, man, they lined up an awful lot of 12 personnel as well. Very similar to what I think we might see us do as well. Interesting.
Hey, learn more about Arizona Cardinals season tickets, single game tickets, premium seating, group tickets, the all-new luxury field seating at azcardinals.com/tickets. We continue with Dennis Gardeck and the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.
Shotgun snap, Hurts. Short set. Steps up, being chased far side by Gardeck. Sacks him at the 41-yard line. Dennis Gardeck has become the sack machine. Shotgun snap. Hurts with a short set. In trouble. Steps up. Gets hit and sacked. Dennis Gardeck was there first.
Somebody hit the strobe, baby.
Gardecky! Gardecky! Gardecky!
That was Kyler Murray mic'd up, and that was part of that epic 2020 season. Once again, 93 snaps on defense, 7 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 10 quarterback hits, and 1 franchise quarterback. Was he riffing on your name, or is that your nickname behind the scenes, Dennis Gardeck?
No, that it has stuck since, but I had never heard that prior. I'm with it. I like Gardecky. That's actually a very bittersweet moment for me, that game against Philly. Also tore my ACL later in that game.
That's right. That's right. With like 2 games to go in the year, right?
Yep.
Oh my
Man,
goodness.
did you know it at the time? When you went down, did you hear anything? Did you feel anything that you were like, oh no, that's bad?
Yeah, it was 2 minutes, and I knew I had to get off the field. It was not good. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I knew I had to get off the field.
Did you say anything to B.J. Ojolari?
I did. I spoke with him. Try to keep spirits high. This is a great time to have a season-ending career, or season-ending injury, because his body has never been in better shape than it is heading into camp. So you love having that going into a surgery, and then it won't affect next year at all. Mine happened late in the season. I'm trying to rush to get back. I'm already battered and bruised. I had to wait a couple weeks because I got scabs and nicks and everything. They won't do surgery. So terrible, because he was on track to have a great year, and I feel awful because of all the work he had put in. But spin it in a positive way. He's going to be back and better for it.
Let's talk about another young guy that a lot of people are talking about, a lot of Cardinal fans, the Red Sea is all fired up about. Let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr.
Giddy up.
And what have you seen from this young guy so far, Dennis?
He seems like a veteran. He seems very much like a veteran, that he's just composed, and obviously he's been around the game, and he knows that he's not I don't
because
think
of his dad, right?
Yeah, his dad was a pretty good football player.
Been around for a long time, Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So he just, the way he carries himself, he seems like a veteran already, and then obviously everything he does on the field is explosive. So a great addition. I'm excited to see him work.
You know what I also like about it too is he seems quiet. Is that really how he is, Dennis? Is he really a quiet guy for the most part?
Absolutely. And I think that kind of adds to the veteran kind of mystique about him. Just like, I'm here, I know what I need to do, and I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. And I love it.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about doing it. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, Kyler Murray was talking about his new wide receiver 1 and the rookie Marvin Harrison Jr.
I don't really view him as a rookie, to be honest. I know he is, but his ability and his mental, it's not on the level of a rookie, So, I expect him to go out there and do what he does.
A lot of curiosity what he looks like, because as Budda Baker likes to joke, nobody's hitting Marvin Harrison Jr., okay? So what does he look like? We can see the route running. We can see the hands. I want to see the yards after catch. I think that'll be epic. I want to see what does wide receiver 1 do for this offense that was top 5 in rushing a year ago. All of a sudden, lighter boxes like James Conner talked about. In fact, here's Kyler, and if he knows yet what the Cardinals' offense can be.
I got a good idea of what we can be, and, who we are as a unit. Obviously, I think we can be great. I just know we got to go out there and do it. It's camp's over. Everything matters now. So, that's we just got to go out there and do it.
I mean, simply put, how much more difficult is it to defend the Cardinals offense when you have a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. now who has to be treated like wide receiver one?
Absolutely. What are you going to do? Are you going to load in the box and you stopping James Conner and our offensive line? Or, well, Marv's there to exploit that.
Yep.
Are you going to make sure you double Marv and cloud to his side and do certain things that you have to do to stop a guy like him? Well, now you're light in the box. You got to do some other things.
Yeah.
Pick one.
See, for me, I agree with you 100%. I love the fact that teams have got to make a decision as to what they're going to do right there. Because when you go ahead and you go 12 personnel with 2 tight ends and you got a big guy, maybe it's a Tip Ryman, maybe it's Higgins, right? Maybe it's Elijah, maybe it's these guys. But you got 2 tight ends. And Trey McBride, who can be a stud tight end, yet he's running routes and he's catching passes like he's a move tight end. And now you've got 2 receivers on the outside. If you can attack the line of scrimmage the way the Arizona Cardinals can do it, with James Conner stoking the ball, attacking the line of scrimmage, now all of a sudden if you're a defense and you're in that box and run-down situation, you almost have to guess what is coming. Because now you can take Kyler Murray and stick him under center, and the play action that comes off of that with the tackle zone in particular is night and day compared to everything we have seen before. I'm just saying, Paulie, I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there, but it fires me up because I think the first route that Marvin Harrison Jr. will catch as a pro, this is a guess, the dig route. The deep in, off of play action, boom! Hit him for about 16 to 18 yards, first down, move the chains. There's a prediction for you, Paul.
All right, here's what Dennis wants to know. Where does he go for the best wings in Buffalo? Buffalo native Ron Wolfley, we put it to you.
Here it is right here. Go to Bar Bills. Bar Bills, that's what it's called. It's in East Aurora. That's a suburb of Buffalo, New York. It is an incredible place. You can go to the Big Tree Inn. That's in Orchard Park as well. Those 2 places right there are incredible, but they're more for the suburbs. You could go to Duff's. If you were going to go to Buffalo, downtown Buffalo, you could go to Duff's, or you could also, Paulie, go to the Anchor Bar, where it all started so many years.
1964, I looked it up.
That's exactly what it is, Paulie. Those 4 places I highly recommend. You will not get a bad Buffalo wing there.
The only topic where Wolf's analysis is better than football is when he breaks down wings in Buffalo. Dennis, you just heard it right there.
I love it.
By the way, after this road trip, it's 3 straight home games.
Yeah.
I know what a full house means to you and the team. So single game tickets on sale now. Reminder, everyone, go to azcardinals.com/buy tickets to secure your seats today. ArizonaCardinals.com, azcardinals.com/buy tickets. So tell me about this schedule. Road game, 3 straight at home. What do you like about that, and what is the challenge?
Paulie, I think the challenge is taking it 1 game at a time. We're playing Buffalo this week, but I do like being home. We're going to have a great crowd for the Red Sea. Again, it'll be another environment where we have to control the emotional energy. I know everything's going to be high for our home opener, but excited for the year.
It dawns on me, Wolf, we should have brought a folding table out back here at Trophy and Chandler to have you, dive off the top rung, do a flying elbow down into the folding table.
You know what? All I want to see when that happens, Lord willing, of course, the 3 home games, I want to see you strobe it, and I want to see you do it in front of the casitas. That's what I want to see, the new casita thing. I love that stuff, Paul.
Oh,
with the balcony.
Somebody's going to celebrate in the casitas, right? That's going to happen, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's going to happen. Beachfront property right there.
Love it.
Special thanks, as always, Jim Almohandro, Cody Fincher, Walt Ellis, Lawrence Ellis, Matt Lazarus, Ron Wolfley, and Paul Calvisi. How about it, everybody? Dennis Gardeck on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.